Shedeur, you told us that this week felt like you were getting back to normal, being a starting quarterback, like you have your whole career. But this is going to be your first NFL start. What does that opportunity feel like in this moment?
Feels good, but we cool, calm, collective like. This ain't nothing to us.
And what do you hope to show against this Raiders defense, your teammates, yourself, and these Browns fans with your play today?
I'm who they've been looking for. Appreciate it.
I ain't never lost, never in my life.
Welcome back, YouTube world. It's your man BDB. You're tuned into the NevaLoss pod. Hey, listen, it is almost game time. It is almost time to throw your wrist up, man. We got one more video I had to drop before game time to get everybody ready and prep for the game, man. Hey, because the narratives are starting to turn around. They trying to spin. They trying to, hey, Mary Kay, the great Wallace Stefanski, she's out there trying to block all bad smut on Stefanski's name and make sure y'all know he has always supported Shedeur's best interest. Hey, but we all know that's cap right there. Hey, listen, I got a few videos. I just want to go into a couple clips, man. We're going to go into Shedeur's pregame interview. The player, you know, his interview before they go into this 49ers game, man. And then we're going to play a clip from 92.3 The Fan. That's it's an interesting clip. Actually, I got a fun short for y'all, courtesy of Gridiron Grind. It's a dope short. I'm gonna show y'all that too. But let's get into the press conference and then we'll go from there, man. Let's see how Shedeur feeling before this big game against the 49ers, man.
How's everybody doing? Good.
So when you went back and kind of looked back at the game, what were the things that when you took away from it, you said, I really like what I did here and really feel like this is things I needed to really work on and progress on?
I was really thankful for being out there, of course, and there's everything, in the midst of a game that you could progress in. When it comes to even footwork, when you're handing the ball off, locating defenders, understand that the windows do close a little bit quicker, there's a lot of things that you could go back in a game and look back and want to redo.
Sure, you kind of joking after the game, like, we're playing the full offseason.
Yeah.
But now another week, guys.
Yeah, that was just jokes, man. Yeah, that was jokes.
Let me turn it up some.
A lot of people took that out of context, but you understand the past 6-7 months been hard, so I want to definitely be thankful that I am able to work out with those guys and knowing I do have a great defense and knowing I came this far. So I was truly amazed. I was truly happy, of course, in that moment that, the work has been paying off, but I'm not comfortable.
I say that all to say, what can we usually expect you when you say you start, when you expect yourself?
I'll say to do my job.
Shedeur, you did allude to after the game, kind of for the first time, just how hard this past 6 months really has been for you, which for the most part, you've put on your face for us, you had that smile, you had a great attitude and everything, but this was a lot harder on you, wasn't it, than you really let on, and why and how were you able to just not show as much as you did?
Well, first and foremost, I got God, so through that, he's able to protect me through everything, but we're in a good moment now, and I don't like looking back. I don't like looking back at the past, and how I was feeling in that moment or however it was, because I'm here now, so I don't ever dwell on the past and things that happened before.
That's a great answer, man. She wanted to go back to that dark place, even though it wasn't dark. He always had that light on the side of him. But it's hard when they try to strip your confidence. They tried to break him down. They tried to make him not believe that he was the best quarterback in the draft and definitely the best on the team at the start of the season, man. Maybe he could have used some tutelage and study under the tutelage of Joe Flacco, man. Learn the game a little bit better, which is cool. But overall, man, as far as talent-wise, Shedeur was the best on the roster, man, because Joe is old, man. He's old. At this point, it's time for him to hang it up. Hey, man, but I appreciate it. Dope answer. Reporters this whole press conference seemingly was trying to ask some questions. Well, not the whole, but it was a few questions that I just thought was, I'm trying to, as he'll say in one of the questions, they're trying to start trouble.
Sure, I wanted to ask you about
gel with some of these guys, the more reps you get, physical reps. I know you've been taking mental reps and you've been doing that throughout the year, but to have these physical reps, does it feel like you're getting a better connection with everybody?
Yeah, of course, day by day, minute by minute, mean by mean, of course. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable and like being in that role, being in that position, they're getting more comfortable with me also. So I'm excited. I'm happy for it, and I'm just thankful.
Shedeur, with Harold and seeing the yards after the catch he's able to pick up, like, what's that like for you as a quarterback? And Dylan Sampson made the comment that Harold just never quits on a play.
Yeah. Nah, it's great to be out there with Harold. I know all the receiver core, that's the goal, is to get yards after catch. So I think he set an example. He set the bar high for us and his team.
Shedeur, no left Cleveland Browns quarterback has ever won his first 2 starts. Surprise you?
I don't really go off analytics and all that stuff, and it really doesn't matter to me, honestly. I'm focused on what I can do and what I can control.
You could be the first.
I always wish the best, and I do everything I can, for this team and for every.
So that they try to bait him in. You could be the best. Because they know he speaks highly of himself and he's uber confident, and usually, he's always saying, yeah, well, I can be the first to do that. And they want to get that sound bite so they can continue to push the narrative that he's very they want to push the narrative that he's arrogant, basically, that he's arrogant in a nutshell. And so they tried a lot of these was like gotcha questions, but he weaved through them really well.
But I got a great defense, got a great team, got great receivers, so I'm just thankful.
Hitting that early big play to Isaiah, the 52-yarder, help you, and then did you notice the effect that it seemed to have on the rest of the team?
Well, it's about belief. The reason why I am so confident in the way I am is the guys around believe. So that's what's most important within having a team, within having an offense, within having to have a spark. You got to have guys that believe. So and I'm fully confident in myself throughout everything. And I'm confident in my team, and I'm sure they're confident in me also.
I know you got a case of coming off the bench against the Ravens, but what do you think the first start at home in front of that crowd's going to feel like?
I feel like it'll be fun. I feel like it'll be very fun. You gotta understand right now. I'm in grind mode. Mentally. Understanding how to attack this defense that we're going against, and they're a great team. They got great coaches, everything. But that's where I am mentally right now.
Hey, Shedeur, not from you, but all your supporters out there say that Kevin Stefanski was sabotaging you.
So you just want to start trouble, huh?
No, I want to ask you what your relationship with him is.
Yeah, well, what people do outside the building isn't really in my control. It's not in my power. So I don't. You act like I can go out there and tell them to do whatever. That's not nothing I can control or nothing I can do. But overall, I'm just happy to be here. Coach Stefanski, you've been coaching since I got here, and you've been doing a very great job, with everything that's going on.
But what is your relationship like with?
So as you can see, he already came with the bullshit question, man. That I thought was out of bounds, but you may, everybody differ on whether they think it's out of bounds or not. It's a whack ass question trying to get him to either save Kevin Stefanski completely, because the world perception, not the world, but a lot of people's perception is shit, he ain't never want to play Shedeur, and never playing Shedeur, and didn't want to give him a fair opportunity to have a shot at the job, even though at the beginning of the year, as soon as they drafted him, they said it's going to be a fair quarterback competition where everybody has the opportunity to become the QB1. Meanwhile, he's the only quarterback who wows everybody in OTAs and training camp, but never gets to snap or throw the ball to the first team ever, until that Ravens game where he was just thrown into the game. So can't be fair if you're not seeing what everybody can do with every group. So they want to clear Kevin Stefanski's name. They want Shedeur to be the one to clear his name, even though this whole time you heard people say Shedeur he late to meetings. He sits in the back of the meetings. He whips his dick out during the team meeting, like all this bullshit. They had all these BS narratives. Don't ride to the games with his team, and not one time did Kevin Stefanski. He said don't work hard, doesn't know the plays. Not one time did any of the coaches step in like, hey man, all this nonsense y'all spewing and putting out there about Shedeur, none of that shit is true. None of that shit is true. But now that he's proven everybody wrong with no reps until after the Ravens game, until during the Ravens game was the first time, O-line said we ever heard his cadence. the receiver, he's like, man, this is the first time I ever threw to Judy. Like, after he kind of turned it around, he beat the Raiders the next week after getting beat on at the Ravens game, come around, 1 week of practice, beat the Raiders or whatever. Now they're like, oh shit, he actually could be good. Let's clean it up. Let's have him make Stefanski look good. Like Stefanski's been working with me this whole time, and Stefanski's been giving me all the opportunity in the world, and I really just needed to build and get better and better to have an opportunity. Like, nah, Stefanski can't help me with none of this shit. And I'm not about to say today, because what y'all seeing is exactly what's happening. He wanted me to fail, unfortunately. Not necessarily wanted him to fail, but he just wanted Dylan Gabriel to be better than him, and it just never was the case.
Yeah, and when we don't see you guys together.
Definitely like a coach. You know, he tells me what I need to do on and off the field. We definitely grown. Our relationship and everything has grown, so I'm just thankful to be here.
Shedeur, obviously you had...
See that? He ain't say, we the best of buds. He ain't say, hey. So he like, man, he the coach, man. I'm the player. Yeah, relationship is grown. That's it, man. That's it, man. Great answer from Shedeur. You ain't got to lie. You know what I mean? And, you ain't got to tell the full truth either.
Conversation with Kevin about remaining the starter earlier this week. Just what was that moment like for you? Because you talk about the work you put in those 6 months to get to the point to just start, but to know that you not only got that opportunity, but you did enough to keep the job. What was that like for you?
Well, I'll say I'm definitely not comfortable, though. So that's first and foremost, that I have another opportunity to go out there. But in life, you got to understand how quickly things come or how long it comes. It could be taken at any point in time. So I'm never comfortable in a situation I'm in. I always want to exceed expectations and always want to grow. And each and every week, I would want to put a better product of myself, be a better version of myself for the team to be out there.
But Dylan Sampson, how have you seen him handle this year? You kind of got off to a slow start, and then seems to be coming on. Obviously, made that huge play for you Sunday.
Dylan been the same all year, mentally. So you wouldn't even know unless you look at the numbers, So he has good energy, good everything, when he's out there. So yeah.
Shedeur, how do you feel like you brought the sport back to Cleveland? I know a lot of the young fans really looked up to you and rallied behind you. Now you're posting rallying behind you for upcoming this Sunday. Just how does that make you feel about all of that?
It is great, honestly, but like I said, I'm not comfortable. As quick as things come, it could leave at any point in time. So that don't really catch my focus, or that's not really in my focus or my plans. I'm thankful for everybody and whoever supports, but I'm focused on getting this team some wins.
Yeah. So as you can see, Shedeur's head and mental is in a perfect space, man. Be honest with you, him having to sit and having to grind and climb the ranks might have been the best thing for him. Everybody else been pretty much thrust in pretty early. Cam Ward, Jackson Dart had to sit for a second, but he got thrusted in pretty early. None of these people have really looked great, even though I do think Cam is starting to figure it out. I think him actually sitting for a second might have helped his progression. We'll see as he plays if it helped or hurt, in the long run, because I feel like it got his mental focused and it got him into a mind state of, oh shit, they really, if they can, will bury me on the bench. So I can't make, many mistakes. I got to go right in. I got to be the dog off of real. I got to be uber focused. I got to hit the books crazy. I got to know what's going on, because they're really trying to make me, they want me to fail. They want me to fail in a nutshell, man. So listen, I'm going to take y'all over to 92.3 The Fan, where they asked about that question. They kind of asked about the question, the reporter asked about him and Kevin Stefanski's relationship. And you got to see, the guy does a great job. What is his name? Earl of Pearl does a great job of just explaining, his feelings on, they basically try to clean it up for Stefanski and say, hey, he's been helping Shedeur develop, and Earl of Pearl does a great job of letting him know, like, nah, Shedeur was already that. They weren't developing him at all, and now they're trying to take credit. So let's go ahead.
Those different things that sort of come into play here. But listen, like, I think the biggest thing you hit on is like the progression that's been made by him. Because even in that Ravens game where he made his debut, he still saw some of the jerks in the pocket. And then that last drive, he started to look more poised. He was marching him down the field. He was stepping up in the pocket. He was making some plays. And the Ravens kept bringing pressure the entire time. And that has kind of been the blueprint. It's like, this guy hasn't seen much. Let's pressure him a lot and see what happens.
I'm also going to talk about that Ravens game and also the preseason game where when they put in all the bench players with him. I can't remember who they was playing exactly, because he lit up Carolina and then he had a bad game versus somebody. I can't remember. And then I'll tell y'all some of the stuff around the circumstances and just make y'all judgment on what y'all think is more likely that was going on. But let's go.
So I'm curious to see how he handles that another week with tape out there and all those things. I have to ask you, though, because I think this is a huge question, and it's at the root of all the Shedeur discourse that's gone on. Do you have a problem at all with the way that they handled, like looking back, do you have a problem with the way that they handled this quarterback room, how they handled Shedeur, where he was on the depth chart, all those things? We're going to play coming up here in a little bit his comments on his relationship with Kevin Stefanski, and I think which kind of alluded to how things have gone since he's been here. But we know what's been said. We know what people have been saying. It's been all this, Stefanski hates him and he's trying to sabotage him and all these different things. But I'm going to be honest, man, like, I watched the progress he's made, and I think, like, maybe he did just need that time. Like, maybe he was a player that they just...
So, listen, when they talked about the backpedaling in the Ravens game and then the Raiders game, none of that happens. He's trying to spin that this was a whole map of Kevin Stefanski getting them ready up until that point. But as soon as he got thrusted in the Ravens game, he was still backpedaling. So at what period would you have said, the progression begins? Are you saying right after the Ravens game and those 3 days of practice, because they only had 3 or whatever, Kevin Stefanski super, sped up his progression and got him to not back up? Like, it's so much BS, because he's trying to say he needed all that time from the beginning of the season until that Ravens game, but at the same time say he had all those same issues from the beginning of the season, which I said was the issue when he got drafted, to the Ravens game. And then the Raiders game, he didn't backpedal at all. And again, I'm going to tell y'all why I believe the backpedaling and all that happened and why he was taking those sacks and things like that. But I'm going to let them finish, and then I'm going to just go deeper into the Ravens game and tell y'all what I think more than likely was happening.
They wanted to make sure he could clean some things up before they put him out there. And now he's getting those reps and he's thriving in it. That's the way I view it. But I'm curious, how do you feel looking back about the way they handled the Shedeur situation?
I cannot wait to replay that clip. And so one of the questions I asked Tom was, has Andrew Berry started to separate himself from Kevin Stefanski?
Yes, sir.
And I asked that for a reason, because that's a question that I've been asking myself hypothetically for a couple of days now. And I think your question that you just posed to me is a great one, because I had the opportunity to actually talk about this as well on another platform. The small answer, yes. I have a major problem with how Kevin Stefanski handled this entire situation.
Facts.
I think that how this entire quarterback situation has played out and has been handled this year has been coaching malpractice, to be totally honest with you, from the very beginning until now. I think the whole 4 quarterback competition was something that never really gave anybody a fair opportunity to, quote unquote, earn a job. But
remember, Kevin Stefanski is the one who said, hey, it's a quarterback competition right after the draft and everything. That was idiotic. He could have just said, hey, my rookies we trying to get them up to speed. We're gonna stick with Joe and Pickett or whatever, but we think we like what we see in these 2 rookies. We're gonna see if one of them can be our future starter. But unfortunately, he didn't. He said, hey, it's an open competition. We're gonna see which one's the best. Even though if you look at all those trackers and you look at the clips that the reporters and everybody was putting out, Shedeur consistently looked the best, but consistently got the worst type of opportunities. They wouldn't give him reps with the ones. Meanwhile, Lil Dilly would get his reps with the ones and get to show what he can do with the ones. And sometimes the ones versus the 2 defense to try to really make it look like he doing something. Meanwhile, Shedeur, had the battle. He never battled against the ones on defense, but, he had the 2s and the 3s, playing against the 2s and the 3s, which always is going to make people who are, ones, the Myles Garrett's, the Ward, you'd be wild by a throw, but you'd be like, would he have gotten that off? If Ward was the defender, would Myles have gotten to him before he can get that off? You know what I mean? Things like that. Could Schwarzenegger have stopped that play? Would he have picked it? Would he have, played good? You know what I mean? Shit like that. I'm going to let him keep cooking.
I told you this before you've gotten to know me. I take people literally at what they say. And Kevin Stefanski came out and literally said that this was an open competition.
Yeah, he shouldn't have said that.
The word choice that he decided to use in that situation gave media members and fans ammunition to use if this did not look like a quote-unquote quarterback competition. Right. It never was a competition. I think that he had an idea of how he wanted to go about his quarterback room, and even his own idea of how he wanted his room built, he even psyched himself out of it. I have come to learn and believe that Kenny Pickett was probably supposed to be the starting quarterback of this team. Okay? Somehow, some way, Kenny Pickett never even took a meaningful snap. Not in preseason. He damn sure wasn't here for the regular season. Okay? Joe Flacco gets benched after a few games. You put in a rookie in Dylan Gabriel, who many believe was Kevin's guy. Okay? So even if you want to, say you did Dylan a disservice, which he did, by allowing a veteran quarterback not to be there, that was a bad move in itself. I don't care if Dylan was your guy, I can care less about the whole IQ, supercomputer, all of that stuff. You are a football coach, you play football. You've seen Dylan Gabriel in all these different practices and all these different situations that he had, and he never really showed to be a competent quarterback.
Fact.
Let's just keep it all the way 100. He never showed to be a competent quarterback. He literally got worse from every single start, from the Minnesota Vikings start on. And yet you still made the choice as the head coach to keep trotting him out there when you know good and doggone well he was not it. Okay? When you talk to former players, like we know Tyvis Powell, like we know Cecil Shorts, guys that play certain positions, they spend most of the time during the week with their position coach and with their coordinators. And so for Shedeur to have shown his growth, I'm never going to say Kevin had nothing to do with that. That would be false. Yeah. But I do know from people who's played this game that players spend time working on things that they have issues with a position coach. So shout out to Billy Musgrave. Shout out to Tommy Reese. Right? And shout out to Kevin Stefanski as well. But I can't sit up here and say, well, if he continues to progress and look well, that Kevin did well because he just gave him time to wait. No, that means that behind the scenes, Billy Musgrave and Tommy Reese is doing a 1-2 with Shedeur Sanders. I have an issue with how this entire thing was handled from August to now.
Yeah, you point out some important.
Right there. That was a great synopsis of what happened. Of what happened, and why Kevin Stefanski, he say he give him a little credit. I don't give him no credit at all. But just imagine this in the Ravens game. So you're not getting no opportunities. You ain't getting no opportunity to practice with the ones or whatever. You cooking in practice, but, they hiding you. They sending you to other fields so the other players can't even see what you can do or whatever. And OTAs and everything, when they say it's an open competition, and training camp way back, when they say it's an open competition, you're the only person. They making sure don't get the snap and throw the ball to the best receivers, Jared Judy's, the best receivers on the team, man, the Njoku's, Harry Fanning, all the best receivers. So in a sense, they hiding you and making sure that you can't wow the players, and you still continue to wow them even with the second tier, sometimes third and fourth tier talent. You get thrust into the game at the Ravens. You have no first team reps. They've never heard your cadence. Your receivers, you've never thrown to these receivers. It's a big moment though. This is the biggest moment of your career because Dylan Gabriel went out with a concussion. That don't necessarily mean he's gone for good. That don't necessarily mean he's out for the next game versus the Raiders. You don't know. All you know is that, hey, I've been thrusted into this game, and I may not get another opportunity, because even when Dylan Gabriel has played bad consistently game after game after game, the first thing Kevin Stefanski do when he gets to that podium is say, hey, Dylan Gabriel is still the starter. So I know my coach does not want me to be the starter of the game. And I get into that game, and now I'm like, man, I have to make a play. And this has been Shedeur's problem in college, and this has also been his problem in that first preseason game. He wants to make a play that's undeniable, and I get it. Sometimes it's terrible, sometimes it can affect you, but if you look at everything leading up to that point, man, in college, again, he had lesser talent on his team, who, the receivers couldn't get open quick. They needed you to buy time for him to get them receivers open, because the only 4-star, 5-star receiver was Trav. And he was really a corner, He wasn't necessarily even a 4-star at the receiver position. Everybody else was, dogs in the making, So he got to buy time. He got to do what he got to do to make them look good, to make himself look good, because he got lesser talent offensive line, and the receivers are he made them into dogs, or whatever, made them look real good. All right, then we go over to the preseason game. He lit it up versus Carolina. Then the next game, they put him third on the depth chart. Joe Flacco actually got hurt the next game. He didn't get to play. And Dylan Gabriel played. He was kind of terrible. Then the next game, they put him third on the depth chart. So he lit it up versus Carolina, got hurt the next game. Then the next game, he's third. Joe Flacco get reps with the ones. He did I think he did 1 or 2 series. Dylan still had the ones when he was in. He had the ones, then he had the 2s. He did all the way up through the half, and Dylan played really well in that preseason game with the 1s and the 2s leading up to halftime. And again, what's the circumstances? Again, I'm not getting no reps with the 1s. I'm not getting no rep. So you put me in with the 3s and the 4s versus the 2 defense that they was playing coming out of half. And it's like Dylan just lit it up. I have never gotten the opportunity to play with the 1s because the coach isn't giving it to me. He keeps giving it to Dylan. So what's going on in this game, the Ravens game, and in college? I'm pressing because I need to show that I'm good enough to be the best quarterback, or I am the best quarterback on this team. So again, I'm like, hey, I may not get another opportunity. The preseason game, he sack because he's trying to make a play, because he don't know when his next opportunity is going to come to try to make a play. So the short 3-4 yard, depending on the receivers to get yak afterwards, he ain't believing in that. Hey, I got to make a throw where they catch it, they in that end zone. They catch it, it's 30 to 40 yards down the field, because then it's more about my arm, less about their legs. Ravens game, similar thing. Again, they blitzed. The O-line was terrible. They blocked it wrong, but I think he's spinning backwards instead of stepping up, because he's trying to make a big play, because, hey, I don't know when I'm going to get another opportunity to show y'all I can make a big play. Then what happens? Dylan Gabriel can't play this week. All right. All that spinning out shit didn't work in the preseason. That spinning out shit didn't work during the Raiders game. During the Ravens, second half of the Ravens game, even, because I ain't had the time in the receivers either down. What I got to do, okay, I'm hearing analysts say that I can't read defenses. I can't play the position where, okay, maybe if I go out here and just play the position the way, they want to play. I throw some short passes. I still improvise and make some big plays, but I make some of the shorter. I got a whole game. There's going to be no Dylan Gabriel. I got some reps with the 1s or whatever. This is all a moment for me to show that I could be a starter in this league, and I got, and possibly give myself a runway to play more games. And that just gave him a little bit more comfort, a little bit more ease. Take a deep breath, and he ain't pressing as much, even though this is still, a big game for him, possibly the game for his career. And, he ain't got no good footage versus great competition out there at this point. So, he was able to calm down, make some plays, and make it happen, man. And that's truly what I believe happened in the Ravens game in the preseason. It was just somebody trying to press and make a play, because his opportunities were so limited that, he just didn't know when this next big moment would be. So Gridiron Grime put up a great short, man. Just some of the college coaches, what they got to say, man. We're going to play this, then we're going to wrap it up.
I think that Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in college football. If I was an NFL GM and I had a pick to where I needed a quarterback, he'd be the first quarterback taken in this year's draft.
I admire Shedeur from the standpoint that he's playing the position the way it's always been intended to play. Rhythm, timing, footwork, all matching up. And then you put on top of that the ability to extend plays looking to throw. He's not a runner first, but he is capable. But extending plays and keeping his eyes downfield is pretty impressive.
Stepping in, taking hits as he's getting the ball out, and just like it's that's a whole NFL thing right there. And so I have a lot of respect, and he's going to take our best. I have a lot of respect for him. I think the energy and notoriety and the juice that he's brought to the program, I think he's doing a great job. I have a lot of respect for him.
And beware, because this guy's going to play in this league.
I think that Shedeur Sanders.
Dope video. Just a compilation of them college coaches, man. Just being aware of how good Shedeur is, man. But it's almost game time, man. Today's the day. He got a big moment versus the 49ers to show people, he belongs in this league and he belongs to be the starter and the star of the Cleveland Browns, man. Hey, look, be prepared to throw your wrist up today, man. I predict even in the snow, Shedeur gonna light it up and have a good game, man. Hey, the Browns are gonna win this game, man. It's gonna shock y'all. They're gonna hang 27 points on the 49ers, man. Their defense is gonna hold them to 14. It's gonna be a 27-14 game, man. A big win for Shedeur, man. He again continue to put his flag down, man. Continue to put his flag down and plant himself as one of the best quarterbacks out the draft, and also make an impact on the league, man. Y'all have a good day, man. BDB NevaLoss Pod. I appreciate all y'all for joining. Y'all have a good one.